Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling a really massive event, the 1815 eruption of Mount Tambora.
Yeah, in Indonesia. We've got the sources here, and it's way more than just a volcano going off. Think global climate shock, human stories. It's all connected.
Exactly. So we'll look at the eruption,
Yeah.
what actually happened.
And then the ripple effects, the climate going haywire, the suffering.
But also some surprising creativity and invention that came out of it.
Right. The mission really is to see how this one event on this kind of remote island led to things like the year without a summer.
And even helped inspire Frankenstein. Okay, let's get into it. Location. Tambora's on Sumbawa,
Now, Indonesia, yeah, it's in a subduction zone, tectonically speaking.
which is basically volcano territory where Earth's plates meet.
Prime real estate for eruptions. And there were, warnings,
All right.
rumblings, steam.
But nothing that suggested what was coming.
No, not on this scale, no. The main event kicked off April 5th, 1815. Big explosions.
Heard hundreds of miles away, people thought it was cannon fire.
That's right. Then ash started falling in Java by the 6th, but the climax was April 10th, around 7 p.m.
What happened then?
Just enormous plumes. Witnesses described liquid fire, pumice raining down,
Right.
and then just overwhelming ashfall that went on for weeks. It choked everything.
And the scale,
Yeah.
you mentioned VEI 7.
Yes, Volcanic Exclusivity Index 7. That's huge. The most recent confirmed one, we're talking like 100 to 150 cubic kilometers of stuff thrown out.
Goodness.
A plume 40, maybe 45 kilometers high. The volcano itself actually shrunk
Lost height.
over a kilometer.
Yeah.
Left this massive crater, a caldera, 6 or 7 kilometers across, way bigger than Krakatoa or Pinatubo in terms of volume ejected.
And the immediate devastation nearby.
Utterly catastrophic. Pyroclastic flows, those fast-moving clouds of hot gas and rock.
Lethal.
Oh, yeah. Plus ashfall, tsunamis.
Mm.
Killed maybe 10, 11,000 people almost instantly. Village is just gone.
And that wasn't even the end of it locally.
No, tragically. The ash ruined crops, poisoned water, famine, disease. They set in quick. Another 49,000, maybe even over 90,000 more deaths just on Sumbawa and nearby islands.
Unbelievable suffering. People selling themselves into slavery.
Desperate situations just to survive.
Okay, so a horrific local disaster. How does this become a global story?
Right. The key is what went up. All that ejected material included roughly 60 megatons of sulfur dioxide.
Way up into the stratosphere.
Exactly. And up there, it reacts with water to form sulfuric acid aerosols, tiny droplets.
These stick around.
For years, they form this thin veil around the globe that reflects sunlight back into space.
Causing cooling. A volcanic winter effect.
Precisely. Global average temperatures dropped. Estimates are about 0.5 degree to 1 degree Celsius for maybe 3 years.
Which leads us to 1816.
The year without a summer, especially bad in the Northern Hemisphere.
And it varied quite a bit by region.
It did. Europe got hammered with cold, nonstop rain, floods, frosts in August.
August frost. Wow. North America.
Similar story. Killing frosts in June, July, August, weird fogs, dim sun, even snow in summer in some places.
And Asia wasn't spared either.
No. China saw frost damaging crops, messed up monsoons, floods. India had abnormal monsoon patterns too, which some linked to making a cholera situation worse.
And this was on top of an already cooler climate period, right? The little ice age?
Yeah, the tail end of it, plus low solar activity, the Dalton minimum. So Tambora really tipped things over the edge.
Okay, so this climate chaos.
Yeah.
The obvious next impact is food.
Huge agricultural failures everywhere. Europe, North America, Asia, crop yields just plummeted, down 90% in some areas.
90%, so food prices.
Skyrocketed. Grain in the U.S. quadrupled. Oats went up 8 times, apparently.
We're leading directly to
Widespread famine, malnutrition. Ireland, Switzerland, Germany, parts of China really suffered. Livestock died off, too. People were starving.
and starvation weakens people, making them vulnerable to.
Disease, exactly. And this is where we see cholera really take off.
A new strain emerged in Bengal.
That's the hypothesis. The environmental disruption somehow favored it. And that kicked off the first modern cholera pandemic. Millions died worldwide over decades.
Just awful. And other diseases.
Typhus flared up badly in Europe, especially Ireland. Tens of thousands died there just from typhus on top of the famine.
So, climate shock, famine, disease. People must have been desperate to move. Migration.
Absolutely. In North America, farmers in New England facing ruined harvests year after year just packed up and headed west.
Really pushed that westward expansion.
Contributed significantly, yeah. Some
Oh.
sources linked it to Indiana and Illinois becoming states around then.
And Europe. Similar movement.
People tried to emigrate, especially from southwest Germany and Switzerland, but getting across the Atlantic was hard and expensive, and you saw social unrest, too.
Food riots.
Food riots, looting, begging. They called 1817 the Year of the Beggar in Germany. Governments tried things like banning grain exports, but it was chaos.
Even economic panic later on.
The Panic of 1819 in the U.S. Yeah, there are arguments linking it back to investments made during the post-Tambora agricultural crisis, then European harvests recovering. Complex ripples.
Okay, amidst all this darkness, there were some unexpected glimmers. Creativity.
It's quite remarkable, yeah. Think about Villa Diodati near Lake Geneva, 1816.
Byron, the Shelley.
Exactly. Stuck indoors because the weather was so relentlessly bad, cold, rainy, thanks to Tambora's lingering effects.
And that gloomy summer led to Frankenstein.
Mary Shelley started writing Frankenstein. And Byron's physician, Polidori, wrote The Vampire, which kind of launched the vampire genre, gothic horror born from volcanic gloom.
Byron himself wrote that poem, Darkness.
A direct response to the bleak conditions. And some art historians even think the weird luminous sunsets caused by the stratospheric aerosols influenced painters like J.M.W. Turner.
Those dramatic skies in his paintings could be volcanic.
There's scientific analysis looking at color ratios in paintings suggesting a link to aerosol levels. It's fascinating.
And one more, a very practical invention.
Right. The velocipede or Lauf machine, basically the earliest bicycle.
Invented why?
By Baron Karl von der Rees in Germany around 1817. Why? Because so many horses had died.
Because the oat crops failed.
Exactly. No oats, no horses. He needed a new way to get around his estates. So disaster spurred invention.
So wrapping this up, Tambora, 1815. It's just this incredible, stark example of how interconnected everything is.
Totally. One massive eruption triggers climate change, famine, disease, migration, social upheaval.
And even influences art and invention halfway across the world. It really shows how fragile systems can be.
But also how resilient, or at least adaptive, humans can be, even in the face of catastrophe. Finding new ways, creating new things.
So the final thought for you listening. Another eruption on this scale, a VEI 7, is statistically possible. Maybe even likely this century.
And think about our world now, even more interconnected, already facing climate stress.
What would the ripples be today? What does Tambora teach us about preparing for, well, the unexpected global shock? Something to definitely think about. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.